At first, it felt freeing. The open spaces, the cleared shelves, the weight lifted. But soon, the silence got louder. The cozy hum of life began to fade, and what was left felt a little too empty. This is the part of minimalism no one talks about, especially when you're over 60. For many of us, our things aren't just things. They're memories, comforts, reminders of who we are and where we've been. When we declutter too far, we risk losing more than clutter. We lose connection. That favorite mug, the old photo album, your husband's favorite chair, those aren't clutter. They're pieces of your story. So today, we're talking about how to simplify without erasing yourself in the process. Because minimalism should serve your life, not strip it of meaning. Let's explore how to find that balance, so your home feels lighter, but still full of heart. We were told to let go, to clear the clutter, to embrace less. And for many of us, especially in our 60s and beyond, that idea sounded refreshing. Less chaos, less weight, less stuff to manage. But after the donation bags were dropped off and the shelves stood bare, something else went missing, something we didn't expect. The memories held in old birthday cards, the comfort of a favorite throw blanket, the quiet joy of flipping through a photo album left untouched for years. In the pursuit of simplicity, many of us discovered a new kind of emptiness. Not in the room, but in the heart. That's the side of minimalism no one talks about. The feeling of disconnect, of regret, of wondering if we let go of too much. Today, we're unpacking that feeling. Because decluttering shouldn't mean deleting your story. It should mean honoring what matters most, while gently releasing what no longer serves you. Let's talk about how to do that, with care, purpose, and heart. Minimalism promised peace, simplicity, even happiness. And at first, it delivered. Cleaner spaces, less to manage, a sense of control. But for many of us in our 60s, 70s, and beyond, something didn't feel quite right. The quiet became too quiet. The rooms too bare. What was meant to bring clarity started to feel cold. Because while we cleared out closets and emptied drawers, we sometimes cleared out pieces of ourselves. Memories, meaning, connection. A favorite chair gone. Family photos boxed up. Heirlooms passed on too quickly. It turns out, less isn't always more. Especially when less means losing what makes your house feel like home. The truth is, you can simplify your life without stripping it of heart. Let's talk about how to do just that. How to declutter in a way that honors your story, your comfort, and your season of life. Because minimalism doesn't have to be all or nothing. It just has to make sense for you. 1. Sentimental items are not clutter. That old sweater from your spouse, the handwritten recipe cards your mother passed down, the birthday card your grandchild made with stickers and crooked handwriting, the seashell you picked up on your anniversary trip decades ago. Some people would call these things clutter, but they're wrong. These aren't junk. They're anchors to your story. In a world that urges us to strip away, let go, and simplify, it's easy to feel pressured to toss anything that isn't useful. But when you're in your 60s, 70s, or beyond, usefulness doesn't always look like function. Sometimes it looks like comfort. Sometimes it looks like memory. And sometimes it looks like love. When we declutter purely by logic, by what we use or what fits in a drawer, we risk making space in our homes but accidentally emptying the emotional warmth that made that space feel like ours. You see, minimalism isn't supposed to erase who we are. It's meant to bring clarity, to help us focus on what truly matters. And if a letter from your late spouse or your father's old pocket watch still matters to you, it belongs in your life. Letting go is healthy, yes, but only when it makes room for peace, not pain. So instead of throwing away items that tug at your heart, here's something better. Create a legacy box, a small, intentional space just for the items that hold emotional value. Not a junk drawer, not a catch-all bin, a dedicated, sacred space. This box becomes more than just storage. It becomes a personal archive, a place where your life's most meaningful moments can safely live, without overwhelming your space or getting lost in the shuffle. Here's how to make your own. Step 1. Choose the right container. Pick something that feels special, a wooden box, a fabric-lined chest, a memory tin. It doesn't have to be large, just meaningful and easy to access. It can sit on a shelf, in a closet, or beside your favorite chair. Step 2. Fill it with purpose, not pressure. This isn't about saving everything. It's about saving the right things. Go through your sentimental items gently. Choose the ones that bring you a sense of warmth, connection, or quiet joy. Not guilt, not obligation, just love. Step 3. Tell the story. If you place a photo, write a little note about what it meant. If it's a recipe card, maybe jot down who always asked for that dish. This isn't just for you. It's also a beautiful gift for your family down the road. Step 4. Visit it often. Let your legacy box be something you actually engage with. Open it when you need comfort. Share it with your grandkids. Let it be living, not forgotten. You are not hoarding memories by keeping a few deeply personal items. You're preserving your legacy. You're honoring the love, the life, the laughter that made you you. And here's the best part. By giving those items a place of honor, you allow the rest of your space to breathe. You clear the clutter, but keep the heart. That's what real minimalism looks like after 60. Not cold, empty rooms. Not bare shelves and white walls. But a home with breathing room and soul. Space to move freely, and space to remember deeply. So no, sentimental items are not clutter. They're the quiet threads that stitch your story together. And you deserve to keep those threads close. 2. Over-decluttering can lead to loneliness. For many seniors, our homes are more than walls and furniture. They're memory keepers. They hold the hum of decades, Sunday dinners, quiet mornings, holiday traditions, the echo of voices we still miss. Every corner tells a story. Every room holds a piece of who we were and still are. That sewing table in the corner? It's not just a table. It's where you made Halloween costumes and baby blankets. The piano in the den? It hasn't been played in years, but it once filled the house with music and laughter. The mug collection? They might look mismatched, but each one holds a memory. But somewhere along the way, minimalism told us to strip things down, to clear surfaces, open up space, and aim for clean and calm. And yes, there's peace in letting go of the unnecessary. But when we strip away too much, something else disappears with it. Warmth, personality, comfort. Without meaning or memory, a home starts to feel more like a waiting room than a sanctuary. Quiet, yes, but hollow. Tidy, but unfamiliar. And that's not the kind of freedom any of us are looking for at this stage in life. We don't just want space. We want soul. Because the truth is, a home should feel like you. It should carry your fingerprints, your flavor, your story. So how do we find the balance? How do we clear the clutter without scrubbing the soul out of our spaces? It comes down to one simple shift. Hear it, don't erase. Here are a few gentle ways to do that. Step 1. Keep what comforts you. Ask yourself, does this bring me peace? Does it feel like home? If yes, it stays. Even if it's not trendy. Even if someone else wouldn't understand. Your favorite old chair, the Afghan your mother knitted. The book you've read 10 times. Those are part of your sanctuary. Step 2. Leave room for breathing, not blankness. Open space is good. It gives the eye a place to rest. But blank walls and bare shelves can feel sterile. Leave a little space for something warm, a family photo, a cherished object, a plant, a candle, or a piece of art you love. Step 3. Let your hobbies live out loud. If you knit, display your yarn in a beautiful basket. If you garden, let your tools hang proudly by the door. If you love puzzles or painting, don't hide them. Let them add life to your home. This isn't clutter. It's you visible. Step 4. Prioritize feeling over perfection. You're not decorating for a magazine spread. You're creating a space where you feel safe, calm, and happy. That might mean mismatched furniture, layered rugs, or a shelf full of books you've already read and loved. Choose coziness over clean lines, meaning over minimal, home over hotel. Step 5. Reclaim neglected corners. If a room or area has become too empty, ask yourself, what used to be here that brought joy? Maybe it's time to bring back that reading lamp, or add a quilt to the couch, or put your family calendar back on the fridge. Home isn't a showroom. It's a heartbeat. There's absolutely value in simplifying. But simplification doesn't mean subtraction of self. It means removing what distracts, not what defines you. So yes, clear the clutter, but keep the warmth. Keep the odd little treasures, the quirky photos, the stories on your shelves. Because a house becomes a home not when it's empty, but when it reflects you. And you, at this stage of life, deserve to be surrounded by comfort, memory, and belonging, not just clean counters and empty corners. So let your home tell your story, loudly, softly, lovingly, just like you always have. 3. The myth of one-size-fits-all minimalism. We've all seen the photos. The spotless countertops, the empty bookshelves, the neutral walls with a single plant, perfectly placed. That's the version of minimalism that fills our screens, glossy, edited, and designed for a lifestyle that rarely looks like real life. But let's be honest, the minimalism we see online was made for 30-year-olds. People with no kids, no grandkids, no keepsakes, and no history. It's a lifestyle built for speed and movement, not for memory and meaning. But if you're in your 60s, 70s, or beyond, your life looks very different. And it should, because your home isn't just a space, it's a story. Every room, every photo, every quirky little object, it's a reflection of who you are, who you've loved, and what you've lived through. And that deserves to be preserved, not purged. Minimalism, the way it's marketed today, is often rigid and unforgiving. If you haven't used it in 6 months, toss it. If it doesn't spark joy, out it goes. But what if it sparks memory, or comfort, or a feeling of belonging? The truth is, there is no one-size-fits-all minimalism. What works for a 25-year-old in a studio apartment won't work for a 72-year-old who's lived a full, layered life. You've earned your collections. You've earned your rhythms. You've earned the right to live in a space that reflects you, not someone else's design trend. So instead of chasing someone else's version of minimal, here's how to create a style of simplicity that fits your season of life. One that's functional, not sterile. Step 1. Define what minimalism means for you. Ask yourself, what do I truly need to feel calm, safe, and supported at home? Minimalism doesn't mean nothing. It means only what adds value. And value comes in many forms: practical, emotional, spiritual. Step 2. Keep items that serve a purpose, even if that purpose is emotional. An old quilt might not be necessary, but if it reminds you of your grandmother and gives you comfort on cold nights, it's purposeful. That's your kind of minimalism, and that's okay. Step 3. Focus on flow, not perfection. Can you move easily through your space? Can you find what you need? Can you rest in your home without feeling overwhelmed? Then you're already succeeding. Forget the Instagram version. Choose your version. Step 4. Create zones of clarity, not emptiness. Instead of stripping every surface, focus on making key areas clear. Your reading nook, your kitchen counter, your entryway. Let the rest carry personality and warmth. Step 5. Release guilt-driven decluttering. If you're only getting rid of something because a book or blog told you to, pause. Minimalism should come from clarity, not shame. Your home is a reflection of your journey, not a showroom. It should honor the decades you've lived, not erase them. This is your season to simplify on your terms, with wisdom, care, and deep respect for everything that brought you here. Minimalism, at its best, is not cold or rigid. It's gentle, thoughtful, grounded. It's about letting go of the noise, so what truly matters can rise to the surface. If the minimalist home you see online feels nothing like the home you love, you're not doing anything wrong. You're simply living your life, richly, fully, and with history worth holding on to. So redefine minimalism in a way that makes sense for you. Keep what works, release what burdens, but never, ever feel pressure to remove the soul from your space. Because a minimalist life should still feel like your life, just a little lighter, and a whole lot freer. 4. Rushed decluttering can trigger regret. There's a quiet pressure many older adults face, and often, it starts with good intentions. Maybe it's time to downsize. You don't need all this anymore. Wouldn't it feel better to let it all go? Sometimes that pressure comes from family, sometimes from well-meaning friends, and sometimes it comes from inside, driven by fear of the future, or a desire to get it over with before life forces the issue. But here's the thing no one talks about. Rushed decluttering can lead to lasting regret. In the moment, letting go might feel productive, even freeing. But weeks or months later, a quiet sadness can creep in. You remember a letter you gave away without rereading, a keepsake you donated in haste, a box of photos you tossed because you didn't have space. And then it hits you. What's gone can't always be replaced. And not just the object, but the meaning, the memory, the connection it carried. This kind of regret is heavy, and it's avoidable. That's why decluttering isn't just a task, it's a process. It's emotional work. It deserves care, time, and reflection. Here's how to declutter gently, so you don't let go of more than you intended. Step 1. Start small. Pick one drawer, one shelf, one corner. Don't try to declutter your entire home in a weekend. You didn't collect your life in a day, and you don't have to edit it that fast either. Step 2. Ask deeper questions. Before removing something, ask, do I truly want to let this go, or do I feel pressured to? What memory lives inside this object? Would I miss this 6 months from now? If you're unsure, set it aside. You don't have to decide today. Step 3. Create a maybe box. Instead of immediately tossing uncertain items, place them in a box labeled "Think on it." Store it in a closet for a few months. If you don't think about it or miss it, you'll know it's time to let it go without regret. Step 4. Invite trust, not pressure. If loved ones are urging you to declutter, kindly let them know you need to move at your own pace. Downsizing shouldn't be done to you. It should be done by you. This is your life, your history, your choice. Step 5. Take breaks when emotions rise. If you find yourself getting overwhelmed, stop. Breathe. Come back another day. You're not falling behind. You're honoring the emotional weight of your belongings. Decluttering is not just about space, it's about identity. Letting go too fast can feel like tearing out chapters of your story before you've had the chance to reread them. And regret doesn't always show up right away. It can surface weeks later when a holiday passes, and the ornament you gave away is suddenly missed, or when a grandchild asks about a keepsake, and you realize it's no longer in your home or your hands. So give yourself permission to slow down. Take your time. Reflect before you release. You're not behind. You're just being mindful. And that's the most respectful way to navigate this season of life. Decluttering should never feel like a rush to a race. It should feel like a thoughtful decision to create space, not just physically, but emotionally. Space for peace, for comfort, for the parts of your life that truly matter. So move gently, move with care, and remember, it's not about how much you let go. It's about how intentionally you do it. You deserve the time and space to honor every piece of your story before you decide which parts to carry forward. 5. Memory loss and identity. As we age, something subtle but powerful begins to happen. Objects stop being just objects. They become memory cues, small, tangible reminders that help us stay connected to our past, our people, and even to ourselves. A piece of jewelry that once belonged to your mother, the music box from your childhood bedroom, a souvenir from a family vacation decades ago, a worn-out cookbook stained with years of Sunday dinners. To someone else, these items might look ordinary, but to you, they unlock stories. They stir up faces, places, emotions. They bring back what time tries to fade. And that's why decluttering in later life needs to be approached with more care than ever. Because when we remove too many of these memory anchors, we risk losing more than just stuff. We risk loosening the thread that holds our identity together. Not because we're forgetful, but because our memories, our experiences, and our sense of self often live quietly inside these physical objects. They help us feel grounded, especially as the world around us begins to change faster than we do. That's why extreme minimalism can be especially risky for seniors. A home that's too empty can feel unfamiliar, even disorienting. It can erase visual cues that help spark memory, especially for those dealing with mild cognitive decline or early dementia. A blank wall doesn't tell you who you are, but a framed photo of your wedding day does. So instead of hiding everything away in boxes or storage bins, here's a simple shift that can make a meaningful difference. Step 1. Identify your memory anchors. Look around your home and ask, what makes me smile when I see it? What reminds me of someone I love? What brings me comfort, clarity, or joy? Those are your memory anchors, and they belong in your everyday space. Step 2. Choose visibility over storage. Instead of boxing up meaningful keepsakes, display them. Keep that old photo on the nightstand. Hang your favorite framed quote in the hallway. Let your keepsake bowl live on the kitchen counter. When something matters, don't tuck it away. Let it breathe. Let it belong to the life you're still living. Step 3. Rotate memory items gently. If space is limited, rotate items throughout the year. Bring out certain objects during holidays or seasons that make sense. This keeps your home feeling fresh while still honoring your full story. Step 4. Create a memory corner. If displaying throughout your home feels too much, choose one special place, a shelf, table, or corner, just for memory items. You can sit by it, reflect, share stories with family. Let it be a quiet altar of who you are and where you've been. Step 5. Involve loved ones. Sometimes, holding onto memory items isn't just for you. It's for your children, your grandchildren, the ones who will one day ask, "Tell me about this," and you'll be ready. We spend decades collecting pieces of our identity, not for decoration, but for connection. And those pieces help us navigate life when the path becomes uncertain. So don't let anyone tell you that a clean surface matters more than a clear sense of self. A meaningful life leaves traces, and it's okay, even important, to keep those traces around. Minimalism can be freeing, but it should never come at the cost of forgetting who you are. Keep the reminders that matter. Keep the objects that speak your name when memory gets quiet. Because sometimes, one small item, a postcard, a trinket, a picture, can bring your whole life rushing back in the most beautiful way. And that's something worth preserving. 6. Emotional minimalism. Decluttering guilt, not love. When we talk about decluttering, most people picture boxes, bins, closets bursting with things. But the truth is, the real clutter isn't always physical. Sometimes, it's the guilt we've been carrying, the perfectionism we've chased for too long, the quiet pressure to keep up, even when we no longer want to. And no amount of organizing shelves will give us peace if we're still holding on to that kind of weight. It shows up in the voice that says, "You should have done more. You should be more productive. You don't need this. You're just being sentimental." That voice doesn't come from your heart. It comes from years of unrealistic expectations, from culture, family, even your younger self. So what if, just for today, you gave yourself permission to declutter emotionally, not just physically? What if you let go of the guilt that's been following you? What if you released the shame of not being perfect, not being endlessly productive, not meeting every demand? Because here's the truth. Letting go of guilt is one of the most powerful forms of minimalism there is. It frees up mental space. It clears emotional shelves. It creates room for something better, clarity, self-compassion, and calm. Here's how to gently begin emotional decluttering, starting from the inside out. Step 1. Name the clutter. Write down what's weighing on you emotionally, unspoken fears, self-judgment, old expectations. Simply naming the clutter helps you take back your power. Step 2. Replace should with need. If you catch yourself saying, "I should keep this," or "I should be more active," stop and ask, "Do I truly need this? Or is this guilt talking?" Let go of choices based on shame. Keep the ones rooted in love. Step 3. Release comparison. You don't need to match anyone else's pace, lifestyle, or home aesthetic. Your life is not behind. Your version of simple doesn't need to look like a magazine spread. Declutter the pressure to compete. There's nothing to prove. Step 4. Honor your journey. Everything in your life, every item, every emotion has served a purpose. You don't need to resent the past to release what no longer serves you. Letting go isn't a rejection. It's an act of respect. Step 5. Hold on to love, not obligation. Keep what brings you joy, comfort, peace, or connection. Let go of the things and the thoughts you've kept only out of duty, fear, or the hope that someone else would approve. This is your space. This is your season. You get to decide what stays and what gently leaves. Emotional minimalism isn't about being detached or cold. It's about giving your heart room to breathe. It's about clearing out the noise so you can finally hear yourself again. Not the voice of guilt, not the voice of expectation, but the voice that says, "I've done enough. I've lived enough. I am enough." That's the real reward of this kind of decluttering, not an empty room, but a full heart. So as you move through your space and through this season of life, remember, the things you choose to keep should feel like love, not pressure. Not because someone else said they're worth keeping, but because you know they are. Let go of what no longer fits, but never let go of what gives your life warmth, meaning, and peace. Because the most important space you can ever clear is the space inside yourself. I once gave away my father's old chess set. It felt like the right thing to do, clean, simple, responsible. I told myself I didn't play chess, that it was just collecting dust. But weeks later, something strange happened. I thought about him, his hands moving the pieces, The way he'd pause before every move, and suddenly, I missed that set more than I ever expected. Not because I needed it, but because it meant something. I didn't need the whole thing back. Just one piece would have been enough. One pawn, one night. Just something to hold when I wanted to feel close to him. That's when I realized. Minimalism should never erase meaning. It's not about empty shelves at any cost. It's about clearing space with care and keeping what connects you to your story. Because sometimes, one small item holds a lifetime. Minimalism isn't the enemy. It's simply a tool, one that can bring clarity, peace, and freedom. But like any tool, it has to be used with care, especially in this season of life. What brings freedom at 30 might feel like loss at 70. You don't need to live in a white-walled, furniture-free home to feel organized. You just need a space that reflects who you are now, not who someone else says you should be. Keep what comforts you, the blanket that warms more than just your body, the photos that remind you of joy, the items that speak your name in the quiet moments. And let go of what weighs you down, the guilt, the clutter, the expectations that no longer fit. Because real simplicity doesn't strip you of who you are, it makes more room for it. Have you ever regretted something you decluttered? Or found unexpected peace in letting go? Tell me your story in the comments. I read every one, and your experience might help someone else feel less alone. If this video gave you a new perspective on decluttering, one that honors your memories as much as your space, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe for more thoughtful, practical advice designed for life after 60.